right now, want to get into this whole debate about AI, conservatism, the internet, smartphones, and tech. Yeah. Brad Littlejohn wrote this piece in Commonplace, What Matters in America, Tech Policy's Libertarian Hangover, that talks about three particular phrases that kind of irks him. And he says, spoiler alert, none of these phrases you think are conservative actually are conservative. The first is, didn't Socrates warn against writing? Meaning Socrates was wrong to, question the idea of writing destroying society. Number two, you can't turn back the clock. Talking about just, AI unabashed. We shouldn't, try to stop it in any way or even question it. And number three, if you don't like it, AI stuff, don't buy it. He joins us now. He also, by the way, is from American Compass. We spoke a while back with Orrin Cass, too. I assume you interact with Mr. Cass, Brad Littlejohn. Welcome onto the show, by the way.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Yeah, Orrin is a great friend and mentor.
Yeah, he's as sharp as they come. And what I like about what American Compass is and what Commonplace is it doesn't just, question things that are going on the left. It questions things that are going on the right. And you brought up some really great points here. Why don't you give our listeners a Reader's Digest of what you were getting at here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think for many parents in America today, you may have noticed over the last year or two, these tech companies just downloading these AI chatbots onto your kid's computer or phone. These chatbots will offer to help them with their homework. They'll offer to be their best friend. Sometimes they'll engage in sensual and inappropriate conversations. And none of us as parents asked for this. None of us were consulted. None of us were even informed in many cases that these features are just being added. So there doesn't seem like we have a very functioning free market when it comes to technology in this country. And what I tried to do in my essay is say, why have conservatives been so sort of AWOL from that conversation about how to govern technology? And I think a lot of it is these lazy cliches that get in the way of serious thinking. So I mean, just like the third one, that I can go through. I can talk about any of them at length if you want, but you don't like it, don't buy it. This idea that, each of us are just individual consumers exercising a decision about whether or not to opt into these technologies. Again, in some cases, they're just being added without even consulting us. In other cases, I think parents, in theory, are making a choice, but it's a very constrained choice. I don't know if you've seen the new Toy Story 5, but it's a great example of what parents are facing. Is it starts off with the kid, Bonnie. She's outside playing, but she's complaining that she doesn't have any friends. Nobody wants to play with her. And you're like, why is this? And the camera pans out, and you see every other kid in the neighborhood is on a device. And so her parents decide, well, I guess if we want Bonnie to have friends, then we need to get her a tablet too. And so there's this sense in which these network effects of technology can compel individuals or parents to feel like they have to make decisions to adopt technologies just because everyone else is. And we've lost the ability to deliberate together at a political level about what kinds of technologies are actually good for our families.
Yeah, it's a great point. I remember a school board meeting I went to years ago, talking almost 15 years ago when tablets first came out, and the school board meeting wasn't even questioned. They said, we need to get tablets for every single kid. Like, they all need to have one. I mean, this is just where technology is going. And literally no one questioned it. I didn't even question it at the time. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me. Maybe that wasn't the best decision. Or, even if it was the ultimate decision, we need to be confident to question stuff like that. And you bring up one of the, most, and some people think it's a crazy question that Socrates asked about writing. When writing literally first came out, because before writing, people, obviously none of us remember it, but it was everything was just passed on through rote memorization and recall and reciting things that you heard previously to writing. What was Socrates' point about writing? I think that really brings home what you're getting at here.
Right. Yeah, so people will invoke the example of Socrates and say, well, people have panicked about every technology when it was first introduced and how it was going to, ruin the youth and destroy our brains. And, look, we seem to be doing fine here 2,500 years later, right? And the reality is, Socrates' point wasn't that we should reject writing. The irony is, of course, we know about it because his disciple Plato thought it was worth writing down. But rather that there are trade-offs. There are always trade-offs with any new technology, and writing enables certain new, extension of human capacities, but also means that we're going to, if we're not careful at least, if we're not attentive to the trade-offs, we're going to lose certain human capacities. We're going to lose our ability to recall things. We're going to perhaps pull away from face-to-face conversation because we can just encounter ideas in a book. And I think it's important for us not to be afraid of technology, but to be attentive to it and to always ask when a new technology is being introduced, okay, what new things, what new possibilities is this opening up for us? But also what things might it be taking away from us? And then we have to choose whether the trade-off's worth it, or if, maybe if we're thoughtful, we can figure out some way, hopefully, to influence the design of the technology so that we can get as many of the benefits as possible with as few of the downsides as possible. And I think, that's definitely the case for AI, where there's all kinds of amazing possibilities that it opens up. But in terms of there's no reason that we couldn't get the benefits of AI without putting in a lot of these guardrails in terms of protecting kids from content that's going to melt their brains or make them develop attachments to artificial girlfriends.
One part that of your piece that really struck me was how network effects have basically made opting out of smartphones and social media almost impossible for families. I mean, you don't want to be the one kid in the room, and you don't want your kid to come home and say, yeah, mommy, why won't you? Literally everyone else has a smartphone or a tablet, why don't I? And when someone says, look, just be a better parent and monitor them better, the government doesn't need to step in. And that's, as a conservative myself, the solution shouldn't always be government right away. There are other ways to do this. But
right.
How do you push back on that? Does the government have any role in this?
Yeah, I think the role of the government is to meaningfully empower parents. And I think, the way we do this in other domains is we say, and I think, honestly, the difficulty is when you let the cat out of the bag, it's actually quite hard to reverse. If we'd had these sensible policies in place in the early days of smartphones and the internet, I think it would have been a lot easier for individual parents to make smart decisions. Now it's going to be harder, but I think things that we can definitely start with are saying, look, every time your kid downloads an app, they have to agree to a terms of service agreement. That is entering into a contract. Your child is entering into a commercial contract with that platform. And guess what? They're a minor. They shouldn't be able to do that. Only you as a parent should be able to enter into that contract on their behalf. In terms of hardcore pornography, kids aren't like that. That is not by any stretch of the First Amendment protected content for children. And yet we say, oh, well, it's up to parents to just police that. But we don't say that with alcohol and tobacco. We say, all right, this is not safe for kids. Therefore, anyone who's in the business of selling it, it's their job to make sure that they're not selling it to a kid. And so I think these policies that would put age verification in place that would actually make it possible for parents to be back in the driver's seat are a crucial first step. And it's only a first step because, as I said, like once everybody has them, it's hard for individual parents to push back. And I think that's where policies at the school level are so important, and where it's very encouraging that we're seeing this finally this reversal in schools, getting some technology out of the classroom. And I think we need to, parents need to show up to those school board meetings and have done the reading and be ready to make their voices heard.
Yeah, I remember reading not too long ago that the Silicon Valley area, where so much of this technology is born, the elite private schools out there got rid of technology in the classroom years ago because the whole discipline of reading a physical book and discussing it immediately with people without any technology assistance is a much better way for kids to learn than a lot of this immediate stuff.
Yeah. And, the thing about AI is AI makes it easier to do everything, right? And that's what makes it such an exciting technology. And it could unlock, new forms of science, new forms of productivity. But with kids, any parent knows the point of being a good parent isn't about making everything as easy as possible for your kids. It's about forcing them to do hard things. And so I think we do need to really distinguish between what are the uses of AI that might be great for adults, and then do those make sense for kids if it's making it easier for your kid to do everything from, researching their paper to asking a girl out on a first date. Nowadays, kids are relying on ChatGPT to do their homework and to help them form romantic relationships. And that is depriving them of the opportunity for the hard mental and emotional development that they need to be functioning adults.
It reminds me of this thing that went viral. I'm going to try to get it played after the commercial break here. When you're paired with a ChatGPT kid on the golf course, and it's a kid not knowing how to have a conversation with another human being. So literally every question he says, "Hey, how are you today?" ChatGPT, "How am I today?" And then it answers it, and then it's brilliant. We'll try to find it on the other side of the break. But these are really important questions that are brought up here by Brad Littlejohn. You can find this on Commonplace: What Matters in America, Tech Policies, Libertarian Hangover. And where are you on X, Brad? Assuming you're on the old X.
I am not on X. I deleted my account a few months ago and have not regretted it.
What are you, a Luddite?
I know that's bad. I'm on Substack.
Substack.
You can find me on Substack.
Find Brad Littlejohn on Substack. He puts his money where his mouth is. Brad Littlejohn on Substack. Search for him, and also at American Compass. Really enjoyed chatting with you on this end of the week show, Brad. Thanks for coming on a Chicago's Morning Answer, and have a great weekend.
You too.
We'll be right back.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable